What's up, YouTube? It's your boy John from Project Ellsworth, and I am back with you today to show you guys another section of my movie collection. Let's do it. All right. Today we are focusing on row 2, section 3, which is that guy right there. Let's get these things pulled and show you what I got. What's up, Mike? I hope everybody out there is doing well and staying safe as usual. All right, let's get into it. Okay, first up we have Flesh Eater. I remember when this movie came out. I remember hearing things that this guy is, he's the dude that was the zombie in Night of the Living Dead. That cat right there. And at the very top of this, it says, Bill Hinsman. That monster from the classic Night of the Living Dead is back from the grave, this time as the Flesh Eater. He lived, he died, he's back, and he's hungry. I watched this movie when this first came out, and I didn't love it. It's been a really long time since I watched this movie, like I said, since it first came out. Let me see if I can see a year on here real quick. I do not, even with my glasses on, I can't read this thing very well. But it's old. This is pretty old at this point. This evil witch will take flesh and blood from thee and turn all ye unto evil. Quite gory, Flesh Eater will deliver the goods to even the most jaded of gorehounds. And that's from cinemawasteland.com. I don't remember any of that. I remember watching this movie and just not being too impressed with it. But this is one I should probably go back and revisit. That's Flesh Eater. I don't know. Maybe sometime I'll watch it again. I've never had any kind of an urge to go back and watch that movie, but you never know. Next up is Flesh Feast. This is 4 movies in one. I remember these things being on sale at Best Buy, and they were pretty cheap too. It was like $5 for this. This one contains Slave to the Cannibal God, The Severed Arm, I Eat Your Skin, and The Undertaker and His Pals. It's nice. I know that I've never watched this. Slave to the Cannibal God actually sounds like the only thing that I may have watched, and I'm not even sure, to be totally honest with you. I'm definitely not going to read the write-up on all 4 of these movies. I don't know. I used to buy these things up when I would see them, and I get these things in my collection and they tend to get lost. I forgot I even had this thing, to be totally honest with you. But it's something I should probably look into. The Undertaker and His Pals. I don't know. That sounds kind of weird, but you never know. I Eat Your Skin. One has to assume that would be a cannibal movie. Or maybe it's a zombie movie. I don't know. Alright, next up is a Sub Rosa piece of hot steaming garbage called Flesh Freaks. I know that I've mentioned on past videos of this manner that if you see this right here, put it down and don't buy it. Because every single movie that I've ever seen from Sub Rosa Studios is just hot garbage. I know that I watched this movie, and to be totally honest with you, I don't think I made it through. Absolute torture to sit and watch a Sub Rosa movie. To be honest with you, I'm surprised I even kept them things. And at this point, all they're doing is taking up space on my shelf that I could use for much better films. I tend to not throw my horror movies away, whether I like them or not. But those Sub Rosa movies they're dreadful. They may be the exception to the rule. They should go right to the trash. All right, next up is a movie called Flu. I've not seen this movie. I believe I bought this at Walmart. The label does not tell me, but I'm pretty sure I bought this at Walmart. Excuse me. Delivers a transfusion of harrowing realism, builds white knuckle tension. A deadly virus is unleashed on an unsuspecting public in the intense, violent disaster thriller Flu. It all starts when a human trafficker is infected with an unknown virus and dies in a Boondang Hospital, whatever that is, covered in oozing red rashes and coughing up blood. Sounds wholesome. Within hours, the virus spreads all over the city, and death goes viral as the body count rapidly rises. Medical professionals are in a panic over the mystery killer virus, and soon the government orders the military into quarantine the entire area. No one gets in, no one gets out. Desperation and violence grip the public as the infected and non-infected struggle for life, and everything begins to spiral out of control. So it sounds like a story that's been told many times before, but be that as it may, that actually sounds like a pretty good movie. Haven't watched that one either. There's a whole lot of movies in this stack that I haven't watched. Right, including this one, the original, The Fly. I've never seen this. I've seen this one, but I have never seen this one. When a scientist attempts to transfer matter through space, things go horrifically wrong, and two grotesque man-fly hybrids are created. Now, with the head of a fly and a wing in place of one of his arms, the scientist desperately hopes that he, his wife, and his brother can capture Vincent Price. Learn something new every day. I didn't know he was in this. Can capture the other mutant and reverse the experiment. I had no idea that Vincent Price was in the original Fly. Very cool. I bought this, I want to say I may have bought this last year at Halloween at Best Buy. They may have had that on sale, because I know that this is not something that you commonly see laying around in stores. I believe this is one of those Best Buy deals that for Halloween they had that in the store, and they were selling it for like $5 or something like that. And next up is the Cronenberg film, The Fly, the remake of The Fly. This one I have seen. It's been years since I've seen it, but it's very cool. Jeff Goldblum is in this, and Gina Davis, right? Yeah, Gina Davis. I got to check this out again. I know recently my son saw a clip of this or a trailer of this or something of The Fly, and his eyes opened wide, and he's like, "What is that?" So that's something I need to revisit very soon, just to see his reaction to that movie. It's got to be awesome. I know there's no way in the world I'd get my wife to watch that. That's way too gross for her. That's way above her pay grade when it comes to horror movies and sci-fi. That would completely gross her out, and there's not a chance that I could get her to watch that. Next up is John Carpenter's The Fog. I need to get a better Blu-ray copy or Scream Factory of this. I've seen this, but it's been a while since I've seen this too. Adrienne Barbeau, Jamie Lee Curtis. Really cool movie. John Houseman. When the fog rolls in, the terror begins. The moody and crisply chilling horror classic from master of horror John Carpenter and co-writer Deborah Hill. That's the team from Halloween, for those of you who are not in the know. And stars Adrienne Barbeau, Jamie Lee Curtis, and John Houseman, and Oscar nominee Janet Leigh. She is Jamie Lee Curtis's mother, and she was one of the stars of Psycho. Get lost in the fog. It will frighten the daylights out of you. The sleepy seaside village of Antonio Bay is about to learn the true meaning of the word vengeance. For this seemingly perfect town masks a guilty secret, a past steeped in greed and murder. Exactly 100 years ago, a ship was horribly wrecked under mysterious circumstances in a thick, eerie fog. Now, shrouded in darkness, the long-dead mariners have returned from their watery grave to exact a bloody revenge. Can this waking nightmare be stopped? Can this waking nightmare be stopped? Or will the fog keep rolling in to kill and kill again? I did a movie review on this a while back on my channel. This was a cool movie. It's definitely not one of my favorite John Carpenter films, but it's pretty cool. The Fog's awesome. A lot of people know about that movie for good reason. Alright, next up is 1408, Sam Jackson and John Cusack. I remember watching this a long time ago too. I watched this right after it came out. And it was very recently on cable, like TBS or TNT, something like that. And I watched a little bit of it, but this is another one I need to go back and watch again. It's been years since I've seen this. Saw it right after it came out. I think I bought this on DVD, actually, right after it came out. And now I've upgraded it to the Blu-ray. There's a whole lot of write-up about this movie, and it's all very small, so I'm not going to bother. But definitely check that out. It's a pretty good movie. Next up is Juliette Lewis and William Hurt in The Fourth Floor. I remember buying this movie because Artie Lang is in it. I am a pretty big Howard Stern fan, and Artie was on the Howard Stern show for several years before he went off the deep end with drug addiction. And I knew nothing of this movie, and like I said, I bought this movie based on the fact that Artie was in it. I did watch it. I don't think he plays a major role in this movie, if I remember correctly, but it's been a long time since I've seen this. Nothing special, really, but it was worth buying anyway. Next up is The Forest. This is one that I felt like this movie had a lot of hype around it, and I watched it, and I just didn't love it. You know, I thought it was okay, but I wasn't crazy about it. A young woman's hunt for her missing sister leads to horror and madness in the terrifying supernatural thriller starring Natalie Dormer from Game of Thrones and the Hunger Games. That's a totally different type of movie. When her troubled twin sister mysteriously disappears, Sarah Price discovers that she vanished in Japan's infamous suicide forest. Searching its eerie dark woods, Sarah plunges into a tormented world where angry spirits lie in wait for those who ignore the warning, never stray from the path. Yeah, maybe sometime I should go back and watch this. Maybe I wasn't in the right frame of mind or something. I remember this movie looking really, really cool, and then I watched it and I just didn't love it. I wasn't blown away by it, and I thought I would be. All right, next up is Julianne Moore in The Forgotten. I believe that this movie was this movie given to me? Maybe this was given to me. I think this may have been one of the gifts from Mark of Horror. I'm not positive. Sorry, Mark. I can't remember. He sent me a whole bunch of stuff, and I think that that's where this came from. I don't remember buying this. 9-year-old Sam Peretta is dead. Nice. Killed in a plane crash. Even though it's been 14 months since the accident, his mother, Telly, portrayed by Julianne Moore, still grieves over the loss, but suddenly her husband, Anthony Edwards of ER, swears that they never had a child, and her psychiatrist insists she's delusional. But worst of all, there is absolutely no evidence to prove that Sam ever existed. All right, there's something covering up that word, but I have to assume that that's haunted, if you can see that. Just so you don't think that I'm crazy. Haunted by the memories of her son, Telly's search for the truth propels her into a dark, mind-shattering conspiracy of unearthly terror. That actually does sound pretty good. I've never seen a trailer for this movie. I've never heard of this movie. I don't remember buying this movie, so that's why I think that this was a gift from someone. Okay, next up is 47 Meters Down. This was actually really cool. My wife and my son and I went and saw this one year for, I think this was like a birthday movie for me. I know that I was the one that picked this movie that night. Went out to dinner, went and saw this. Mandy Moore, Claire Holt. Pretty good flick. Basically, just like all other shark movies, they're stuck underwater. They're stuck in the water trying to not be killed by a man-eating shark. So that's what it is. But I thought this one was done pretty well. Next up is the sequel, 47 Meters Down Uncaged. This one I have not watched yet. Let's see. 47 Meters Down Uncaged follows the diving adventures of 4 teenage girls. Exploring the submerged Mayan city. A submerged Mayan city. Once inside, their rush of excitement turns into a jolt of terror as they discovered the sunken ruins are a hunting ground for deadly great white sharks. With their air supply steadily dwindling, as it does in all shark movies, the friends must navigate the underwater labyrinth of claustrophobic caves and eerie tunnels in search of a way out of their watery hell. I have actually seen a few people on YouTube say that this movie was better than the original, and I dug the original, so this one is probably pretty good. That shark looks crazy. Crazy ass eye. But yes, I've heard several different people say that this movie is actually better than the first movie was. So that's something I need to pull. When the whole Shark Week thing on the Discovery Channel was going on, I wanted to watch a bunch of shark movies and do some stuff for my channel. But obviously never happened. Alright, next up is a movie that I actually really enjoy a lot. The Fourth Kind. If you have not seen this movie, check this out. It's really, really cool. A remarkable movie that boggles the mind. This is The Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind. This is neat. It seems to be a Hollywood film / documentary commentary on actual alien encounters and alien abductions. There's footage inside of this movie that is said to be real, if I remember correctly. This is pretty cool. In remote Alaska, citizens have been mysteriously vanishing since the 1960s. Despite multiple FBI investigations, the truth behind the phenomena had never been discovered until now. While videotaping therapy sessions with traumatized patients, psychiatrist Dr. Abigail Taylor unwittingly exposes terrifying revelations of multiple victims whose claims of being visited by alien figures all share disturbingly identical details. Based on actual case studies, The Fourth Kind uses Dr. Tyler's never-before-seen archival footage alongside dramatic reenactments to present the most disturbing evidence ever documented in this provocative thriller critics are calling terrifyingly real. The most shocking alien abduction movie to date. Lord. Try that again. The most shocking alien abduction movie to date. This movie's pretty good. I've seen this a few times, and I think that it's definitely entertaining. It definitely holds your attention, and the documentary style is unique. It's really cool. And the footage that they're saying or claiming or is supposed to be real is really friggin' disturbing. That just for that alone, I think that movie's worth a watch. But overall, The Fourth Kind is a good movie. Here's another one that's actually pretty good. Bill Paxton and Matthew McConaughey in Frailty. Two thumbs way up, one of the year's best films, the ultimate cinematic horror, edge of the seat entertainment. This was cool. Years after terrorizing a small Texas community, the God's Hand Killer has returned, leaving in his wake leaving in his wake a perplexing trail of fear and death. Convinced that he knows the killer's identity, Fenton Meeks shows up at FBI headquarters, intent on putting an end to the murderous rampage and relieving his conscience of his family's sinister secrets. This movie's pretty cool. Matthew McConaughey's really good in this movie. This is way old Matthew McConaughey too. Let me see, 2001. So this movie's 19 years old. Really, really good flick. I'm wondering if that was around the same time that Texas Chainsaw: The Next Generation was made, when he was not a household name yet. And at that point, I don't believe he was either. So I would be curious. I just don't feel like getting up and looking, to be honest with you. But I think that's got to be made around the same time period. Here's one that might be a shocker to people that I have yet to watch. I have never watched Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with Robert De Niro. I have never heard anything but good stuff about this movie, but I have never watched it. And I'm not going to read all that small writing right there either. I just don't have it in me tonight. But I heard this was pretty good. You know, I've never seen the movie. I really need to watch this movie. I recently thought about another Robert De Niro movie I've never watched, Cape Fear, which I ought to be ashamed of myself for never watching that movie either. So before I watch this, I think I'm definitely going to watch Cape Fear, but I really need to watch that. Next up is another one that I thought was kind of disappointing. The trailer for this looked really cool. Then I actually bought the movie, watched the movie, and was highly disappointed in the movie. Frankenstein's Army. Punk rock horror at its finest, magnificent. Will set even strong stomachs churning. It's not true. You don't stop watching Frankenstein's Army when the end credits roll, you escape it. I really didn't think this movie was all that great, to be honest with you. In the dying days of World War II, a battalion of Soviet soldiers find themselves lost in enemy territory. Stumbling upon a village decimated by an unseen terror, they're lured into the secret lab of a deranged scientist and forced to face off against his army of horrific flesh and metal war machines. A nightmarish fantasy thrill ride unlike any other, Richard Rapphorst's Frankenstein's Army is a delirious plunge into the darkest depths of insanity. I mean, I guess this movie was alright, but I was disappointed in it. I think I just may have had much higher hopes for this. Like I said, the trailer looked awesome, and personally, for me, I thought the trailer was all of the good parts of the movie. The trailer was more entertaining for me than the movie was. I got just as much out of the trailer, or more, than I did through the movie. The trailer's 2 to 4 minutes, and the movie is an hour and a half of my life I can't have back. Alright, next up is another one called Freak Out. This is another one that I was not crazy about. I remember being very curious about this movie, and I bought it, put it on, and I don't think I finished it. I think this is one of those movies that, for me, sucked to the point that I wasn't even willing to endure the remainder of the movie. I don't even know if I made it through half of this movie. And there's a whole bunch of small writing again that I don't want to read. Astoundingly funny. A wild, woolly sledgehammer to the face of Hollywood conformity. One of the finest indie horror comedies of the year. A bloody buddy movie. Just... in hindsight, I should not have bought this movie. This movie, I don't remember being good at all. It's not even slightly entertaining. Don't waste your time or your money. I'm sure that that's out of print and next to impossible to find unless you go online to find it. Don't waste your time. All right, and the last one for today on this shelf is the Friday the 13th box set from Crystal Lake to Manhattan. Couldn't wait to get my hands on this thing. When this came out, this was like the ultimate Friday the 13th box set to have. This was before the tin came out with the entire franchise on it. This one is not even all of the original movies. This one does not have Jason X or Jason Goes to Hell on it. It just goes up to part 8, which to me is kind of weird. But it's got extras. Two movies per disc. So, I mean, it's a cool set. And like I said, when this thing came out, this was like the set to have. I remember anticipating the hell out of this thing. When it came out, I went to Best Buy and bought it the day it came out. Absolutely loved it. And then that other box set came out, and I don't know that I've watched this since, to be honest with you. These are DVDs too, which is another downfall to this one compared to the other one. The other ones are Blu-rays. But, I'm sure most Friday the 13th fans out there own that box set, unless they got rid of it, traded it in, or sold it on eBay, or sold it to a friend, or gave it away, for all I know, once the other Friday the 13th box set came out. But I actually kept that around on purpose, because there's a TV or two in this house that have DVD players on them, but don't have Blu-ray players on them. Excuse me. And the Friday the 13th movies are like comfort food for me. Whenever I feel like watching something and I can't make up my mind, the first four Friday the 13th movies, it's not uncommon for those to wind up in my DVD player when I can't figure out what I want to watch. Alright, so that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoy those. If you guys want me to watch or review any of those movies, leave it in the comment section down below and we can talk about it. I'm going to get out of here. I got to go to bed. I got a kid starting school tomorrow. 8th grade. Where in the world did that 13 years go? Alright, if you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you really like this video and you've been enjoying my content up to this point, please do me a huge personal favor. Click that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Have a kick-ass day. And thank you for watching. Later, folks.